"We're going tomorrow, Mom. I've sold your house." She didn't raise her voice. She didn't hesitate. She said it like the decision had been made long before I was invited into it. For a moment, I thought I had misheard her. Not because the words were unclear, but because they didn't belong in my life. Sold. My house? I looked around the room as she spoke, the familiar cracks in the wall near the hallway, the chair by the window where I used to sit in the evenings, the kitchen light I always forgot to turn off. I had lived here longer than she had lived anywhere. This house had watched her grow, had watched me survive. She kept talking, explaining numbers, timelines, plans. I nodded automatically. That's what years of motherhood teach you. Nod first, question later. Keep the peace. Inside, something finally stopped trying. I didn't feel panic. I didn't feel anger. I felt clarity, because this moment wasn't sudden. It was only the loudest part of a very quiet pattern. What she didn't know was that I had been paying attention for a long time, and I had learned how to stay silent without being powerless. Act 1. The house I built with my life. Minutes 10 to 30. I bought that house when my daughter was 6 years old. Her hand barely reached the doorknob the first day we walked in. It wasn't a dream house. The paint was old. The floors creaked. The kitchen felt too small. But it was mine, which meant it was hers too. I remember standing in the doorway that first night, the house empty except for our footsteps. She ran from room to room, laughing. "This one's mine!" "No, this one!" I sat on the floor and cried, not because I was sad, because for the first time since her father left, I felt like we were safe. Every payment mattered. I worked extra shifts, skipped vacations, wore the same coat for years. I never complained, because every sacrifice felt temporary. Every sacrifice felt worth it. This house wasn't just shelter, it was proof that I had held things together. Years passed, the house aged, so did I. She left for college, then for work, then for her own life, but the house stayed, waiting. When she visited, she talked differently. Not about memories, about market value, about renovations, about what made sense. I listened politely, because mothers are trained listeners. I didn't realize she was no longer seeing the house as a home. She was seeing it as leverage, and I was still seeing it as survival. It didn't happen all at once. That's important to understand. If it had been sudden, I might have noticed. I might have questioned it, but it came wrapped in concern, in kindness, in phrases every mother wants to hear. "Let me help you with that, Mom. You shouldn't have to deal with this anymore. I've got it." At first, it was small things. Mail, bills, appointments. She said the paperwork was confusing, that banks made things harder than they needed to be, that it would be easier if she handled it. I didn't argue. I was tired. Not weak, just tired. After decades of responsibility, letting someone else take over felt like relief. She sat beside me at the table, papers spread out neatly. She explained things patiently, repeated herself when I didn't understand, smiled when I apologized. "You raised me, Mom. Let me do this for you." Those words mattered. They softened my hesitation. So I signed where she pointed, listened when she explained, trusted when she said everything was normal, because she was my daughter, and because she sounded so sure. I didn't notice how the language changed. At first, she said we should update this. We'll take care of it. Later, she said I already handled that. I talked to them. Eventually, she stopped explaining altogether. When I asked questions, she answered quickly, confidently, as if the answers were obvious. I felt embarrassed for asking, so I asked less. That's how access becomes control, not through force, through convenience. She began going to meetings without me, calling banks on my behalf, talking to people who used words I didn't recognize. When I asked what something meant, she said, "It's nothing you need to worry about." I told myself that was kindness, that she was protecting me. But protection can sound a lot like exclusion if you're not careful. I noticed she had opinions about the house, not emotional ones, practical ones. Too much maintenance, too much space, not efficient. She talked about downsizing, about options, about what made sense at your age. I smiled politely, ignored the tightening in my chest. This house had carried me through things she never saw, things I never told her. It wasn't just square footage, it was history. But history doesn't appear on spreadsheets. She suggested putting her name on documents, just in case of emergencies, in case something happened, in case decisions needed to be made quickly. She framed it as preparation, responsibility, maturity, and I agreed. Because disagreeing felt like accusing her of something I didn't believe she was capable of. I didn't think she would ever use that access against me. Not intentionally, but intention isn't always required. Sometimes power shifts quietly until one person stops needing permission. I noticed the tone change. She didn't ask anymore. She informed. "Don't worry, I took care of it. This is already done. We'll talk about it later." Later rarely came. I told myself I was imagining things, that this was normal, that this was what growing old looked like. But something in me stayed alert, not fearful, just aware. I started paying attention to the words she used, to what she skipped, to what she assumed I would accept. That's when I did something quietly, something she never noticed. I started keeping copies. I asked for documents under the excuse of organization. I listened more carefully. I stopped signing anything without reading. Not because I distrusted her, but because I needed to understand. And the more I understood, the more I realized how much I had stepped back. I had mistaken silence for peace and convenience for care. I didn't confront her, not yet, because something told me if I spoke too soon, I would lose more than a conversation. I needed to see where this was going, and it was going somewhere. I could feel it. The first line was said over coffee. That's how ordinary it was. She stood by the counter, scrolling through her phone, barely looking up. "I don't think it makes sense for you to stay here much longer, Mom." The sentence landed softly. Too softly. I laughed at first. Not because it was funny, but because my body hadn't caught up with my mind yet. "What do you mean?" I asked. She shrugged. A casual motion, the kind you make when the answer should be obvious. "This house is just a lot," she said, "for someone your age." Your age. She finally looked at me then, not unkindly, but with a certainty that unsettled me. "You don't need all this space," she continued. "It's not practical." Practical. That word again. I stared at my mug, the steam rising, curling away, trying to understand how we got here. "This isn't about practicality," I said slowly. "This is my home." She sighed, not impatient, concerned. That made it worse. "I know, Mom, but we have to think long-term." "We?" I noticed she said it the same way she did when talking to service providers. Calm, decisive, already resolved. "I'm not asking to move," I said. "I'm fine here." She nodded. But she didn't hear me. "That's not what I mean," she replied. "I just don't think this decision should rest on how you feel about it." The room went very still. There it was, the line. I looked up at her, really looked. Her posture was relaxed, her tone steady. But something had shifted. She wasn't talking with me anymore. She was talking over me. "I've lived here for over 20 years. I said. "I think my feelings matter." She smiled gently. The way you smile when you're trying to be patient. "Mom," she said, Feelings aren't the same as facts. That sentence changed something in me, because in that moment I realized she wasn't worried about me. She was managing me. I remembered every time I had stayed silent, every time I let her decide, every time I told myself this was help. I saw it clearly then, not with anger, with clarity. She had grown used to deciding for me, and I had taught her how. "I don't want to move," I said again, more firmly this time. She paused, just a second too long. Then she said something that told me everything. "We'll see." 2 words, not a discussion, not a disagreement, a conclusion. I felt something tighten in my chest, not fear, resolve. I finished my coffee slowly, stood up, cleared my cup. She kept talking about options, about timelines, about planning ahead, but I wasn't listening anymore because I understood now. This wasn't about the house. It was about authority, and I had already given her more than she realized. That afternoon, after she left, I sat alone in the living room, the sunlight cutting across the floor, the same floor I had cleaned 1,000 times. I walked through each room, not with nostalgia, with attention. The small repair I had done myself years ago, the spot on the wall I never fixed, the door that's still stuck in winter. This house knew me. I sat at the table and opened the folder I'd started keeping. Quietly, carefully, copies of documents, notes, dates. I didn't know yet what I would need them for, but something in me knew I would. That night, I didn't sleep much. Not because I was upset, but because my mind was working. For the first time in years, I wasn't shrinking. I was preparing, and I understood something important. Love had kept me quiet, but clarity was giving me back my voice. The paperwork appeared on a Tuesday. She didn't announce it, didn't sit me down, didn't ask if I was ready. She simply placed a folder on the kitchen table and said, "I took care of it." I was washing dishes. The sound of running water filled the room. I turned it off slowly, dried my hands, looked at the folder. "What is this?" I asked. She leaned against the counter, relaxed, prepared. "Just documents," she said. "Things we talked about. We hadn't talked about this." I opened the folder carefully, too carefully. Contracts, signatures, dates. My name appeared more times than I expected. Her name appeared where I didn't expect it at all. "Why are these already signed?" I asked. She didn't hesitate. "That's what frightened me. You authorized me," she said. "Remember?" I did remember. The general language, the trust, the assumption that nothing would happen without my consent. "This isn't what we agreed to," I said. She sighed, not frustrated, sympathetic. "Mom, this is just the process," she replied. "These things move quickly." Move quickly. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "When were you going to tell me?" I asked. She looked genuinely surprised. "I just did." That was the moment I understood something crucial. She didn't see this as crossing a line. She saw it as efficiency. I closed the folder, not dramatically, carefully. "This house isn't for sale," I said. She smiled, a small, patient smile. "We'll talk about it later." The same words again. I didn't argue, not because I agreed, but because I knew arguing would change nothing. That evening, after she left, I sat at the table with the folder. I read every page slowly, line by line. I noticed what was missing, what was assumed, what relied on silence. And I noticed something else. There were steps she couldn't complete without me, not legally, not fully. She had moved ahead confidently, but not completely. That realization didn't calm me. It focused me. I made a call the next morning, then another. Quietly. I didn't accuse her. I didn't confront her. I asked questions. What does this document actually allow? What happens if I withdraw consent? What is required for a sale to be final? The answers came slowly, carefully, and each one confirmed something I had suspected. She had assumed I wouldn't resist, because I never had before. That night, she called, her tone different, sharper. "Why did the bank contact me today?" she asked. I held the phone calmly. "I asked questions," I said. There was a pause, longer than usual. "Mom," she said carefully, "you're making this harder than it needs to be." "No," I thought. "I'm making it accurate. I want to understand what's happening," I replied. She exhaled audibly. "We're running out of time," she said. Time. The word felt heavy, threatening. "Time for what?" I asked. Another pause. "For the sale," she said. That's when I knew. She hadn't just planned, she had promised. And now, something was slipping out of her control. That night, I walked through the house again. But this time, it felt different. Not like I was saying goodbye, like I was standing my ground. I placed the folder in a drawer, locked it, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel small. I felt alert. Something was coming. I didn't know exactly what, but I knew one thing. This decision would not be made without me. She came over in the late afternoon, not rushed, not nervous, prepared. I could tell by the way she carried herself. Her shoulders were straight, her tone was settled. This wasn't a discussion, it was a delivery. She didn't sit down. She stood near the doorway, keys still in her hand. "We're going tomorrow, Mom," she said. "I've sold your house." She said it the way you tell someone the weather. "Tomorrow." I didn't respond right away, not because I was shocked, but because I wanted to understand something first. "How long have you known?" I asked. She frowned slightly. "Known what?" she said. "That this was happening," I replied. "That this was decided." She sighed, not defensively, as if I were making things unnecessarily complicated. "I didn't want to stress you," she said. "It's better this way." Better. I looked at her then, really looked. She wasn't cruel. She wasn't angry. She believed she was right. That's what frightened me most. "When did you sell it?" I asked. She hesitated. Just a moment. "Last week," she said. "Last week? So the papers are signed?" I asked. She nodded, confident, certain. "Yes," she said. "It's done." I felt a strange calm settle over me. Not relief, not resignation, clarity. I stood up slowly, walked to the window, looked out at the street I had lived on for decades. Cars passed, neighbors moved about their lives. The world didn't pause. "You should have told me," I said quietly. She bristled. "I didn't think you'd react well," she replied. "And honestly, this is what needs to happen." Needs. I turned back to her. "This house isn't just property," I said. "It's my life." She crossed her arms, not aggressively, defensively. "You're being emotional," she said. "This is a business decision." There it was, the final line between us. I nodded, slowly. "Then let's talk business," I said. She looked surprised. Just for a second. I reached for the drawer, the one I had quietly prepared, pulled out the folder, set it on the table. Her expression shifted. "What's that?" she asked. "Documents," I said. "Things you assumed I wouldn't look into." She frowned. "You already signed," she said quickly. "You gave me authority." "Limited authority?" I replied. "Conditional authority." She laughed, a short, dismissive sound. "Mom," she said, "it's over." I met her eyes. Steady. "No," I said calmly. "It isn't." The room felt suddenly smaller. She stepped closer, lowered her voice. "You're confused," she said. And this is exactly why I didn't involve you." That sentence landed harder than anything else, because it wasn't about the house anymore. It was about erasing me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. "I spoke to a lawyer," I said. Her confidence faltered, just slightly. "When?" she asked. "Months ago," I replied. "Before any of this." Her face changed, not anger, alarm. "You went behind my back?" she said. "No," I replied. "I went beside myself." Silence stretched between us. "You can't do this," she said. "I've already made arrangements." "That's unfortunate," I said gently, "because you didn't have the authority you thought you did." She stared at me. "You're choosing this house over me," she said. That hurt, but I stayed still. "No," I said. "I'm choosing myself." She left without saying goodbye. The door closed harder than usual. I sat down slowly, my hands trembling just a little, not from fear, from release. For the first time in years, I had not disappeared, and whatever came next, I knew one thing. This story was no longer being written without me. The first sign something was wrong came the next morning. Not from her. From the bank. A polite voice on the phone, careful with words, professional. They had questions, clarifications, documents that didn't align the way they expected. I answered slowly. Honestly. "I haven't approved a sale," I said, "and I'm not relocating." There was a pause, the kind that tells you your words matter. "I understand," the voice replied. "We'll need to review the file." Review. That word echoed quietly. By mid-morning, my daughter called. Her tone was sharper than before, less rehearsed. "What did you tell them?" she asked. "I told the truth," I replied. "You didn't need to say anything," she said quickly. "I was handling it." "You were handling me," I said. "That's different." She exhaled loudly. "You're making me look unreliable," she said. I closed my eyes briefly. "No," I replied. "You assumed reliability meant silence." She didn't respond. The next call came from the buyer's agent, then the lawyer, then someone else whose role I didn't quite remember. Each conversation carried the same undertone: confusion, concern, delay. I learned something important that day. Sales rely on momentum, and momentum breaks easily when consent is questioned. By afternoon, my daughter was no longer calm. She showed up unannounced, her movements quicker, her voice tighter. "This is falling apart," she said. "You don't understand what you're doing." I sat across from her, hands folded. "I understand exactly what I'm doing," I said. "I'm saying no." "You can't just change your mind," she snapped. "I didn't change it," I replied. "I never gave it." She paced the room, looked at the walls, the windows. "You're ruining everything," she said. Everything. I wondered what that meant to her. Money, promises, reputation. "This was supposed to make things easier," she continued. "For both of us." "Easier for who?" I asked. She stopped pacing. "You don't trust me," she said. I considered that carefully. "I trusted you," I replied. "And then you decided without me." Her face tightened. "You always do this," she said. "You hold on to things until they hurt everyone." I didn't argue. "I held on to this house because it's mine," I said, "and because I'm still capable of deciding." She shook her head. "You don't see what I see," she said. "No," I replied quietly. "I see something different." She left again. This time she didn't slam the door. She closed it carefully. That worried me more. The calls continued for days. Delays, requests, revisions. The sale stalled, then paused. I learned how quickly certainty erodes when paperwork meets reality. And I learned something else. She hadn't prepared for resistance. She had prepared for obedience. One evening she called, her voice tired, less controlled. "They're backing out," she said. I waited. They want everything reapproved, she continued. From the beginning. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. That seems reasonable, I said. Silence. You're doing this on purpose, she said finally. No, I replied. I'm doing this on principle. Another silence. I was trying to help, she said. I know, I replied. But help doesn't replace consent. She hung up without saying goodbye. I sat alone that night, not victorious, not relieved, grounded. The house was still here, so was I. And for the first time, the balance between us had shifted. Not because I fought, but because I stood still. She didn't come back right away. For days there was silence. Not the angry kind, the careful kind. The kind where someone is replaying conversations in their head, measuring words, preparing defenses. I didn't reach out. For the first time in my life, I let the silence stand. When she finally came, it wasn't planned. She didn't call first. She stood at the door longer than usual before knocking. When I opened it, she didn't step inside immediately. She looked unsure. I just wanted to talk, she said. I stepped aside, didn't invite, didn't refuse. She walked in slowly, like someone entering a place they weren't certain still belonged to them. We sat at opposite ends of the living room. The same room she had once claimed was no longer mine. I didn't think you'd push back, she said quietly. There it was. Not an apology. An admission. Why? I asked. She stared at her hands. Because you never do, she replied. You always let things go. I nodded. That's true, I said. But letting go and being erased aren't the same thing, she swallowed. I wasn't trying to erase you, she said. No, I replied. You were trying to manage me. She looked up then, eyes wet, surprised. I was scared, she admitted. You're getting older. I thought if I didn't step in, things would fall apart. That sentence held years of misunderstanding. Things didn't fall apart, I said. They held together because I held them. Her shoulders dropped, just slightly. I didn't know, she whispered. You didn't ask, I replied. Silence stretched, not hostile, heavy. I thought love meant taking control, she said. Love means listening, I answered, especially when it's inconvenient. She nodded slowly, tears slipping now. I promised people things, she said. I told them it was settled. That wasn't your promise to make, I said gently. She covered her face. I messed up, she said. I didn't rush to comfort her, not out of cruelty, out of respect. I needed you to see me, I said, not as a problem to solve, but as a person who still decides. She wiped her eyes. I don't know how I missed that, she said. Because you were busy being capable, I replied, and you forgot I still am too. She didn't argue, didn't defend. She simply sat with it. When she left that night, she hugged me differently. Not tightly, carefully, as if she finally understood something fragile had been placed back in her hands. That night, alone, I felt something unfamiliar. Not relief, not sadness, respect. There are things your children never see, not because you hide them intentionally, but because survival teaches you to be efficient with pain. My daughter never knew how close I came to losing that house once, during the years after her father left. She remembers those years as stable, predictable, safe. She doesn't remember the nights I lay awake calculating numbers in my head. Mortgage, utilities, food, school fees. She doesn't remember the letters I didn't open right away, the repairs I delayed, the medical appointments I skipped. She doesn't know how many times I chose the house over myself, because the house meant continuity. It meant she wouldn't have to move schools, change neighborhoods. answer questions she wasn't ready for. I never told her about the afternoon I almost sold the house myself, years ago. I had gone as far as meeting an agent, sitting across from someone younger than me, listening to them explain what I could afford if I let go. I remember driving home afterward, pulling into the driveway, sitting in the car for a long time, and deciding I would rather be tired than uprooted. That house absorbed my exhaustion, my fear, my determination. It was never just an asset. It was a shield. When my daughter told me she sold it, she thought she was relieving me. She didn't know she was undoing decades of quiet resilience. After the sale collapsed, we didn't speak for weeks, not out of anger, out of recalibration. I gave her space. For the first time, I didn't rush to fix the silence. One evening, she came over unannounced. She stood in the doorway, no keys in her hand this time. "I didn't realize how much this place meant to you," she said. I didn't respond immediately, because I wanted to choose my words carefully. "It's not about meaning," I said finally. "It's about memory." She sat down slowly, like someone entering unfamiliar territory. "I thought I was helping," she said quietly. "I know," I replied, "but help without listening feels like control." She nodded, not defensively, just absorbing. "I forgot that you're still you," she said, "not just my mom." That sentence stayed with me, not because it was cruel, but because it was honest. Children forget that parents had full lives before them, dreams, losses, strength. They see the version that served them, not the whole person. "I never wanted to take anything from you," she said. "You didn't take it," I replied. "You assumed I was done with it." We sat in silence, the kind that doesn't need filling. I realized then that this wasn't about winning or proving a point. It was about being seen. For the first time, I didn't soften the truth. I didn't reassure her. I didn't minimize. "I need you to understand something," I said. "I'm not fragile just because I'm older." She nodded again, slower this time. "I know," she said. "I just didn't think." "That's what frightened me," I replied. "Not your intention, your certainty." She looked around the room, the furniture, the walls. "I never asked why you stayed," she said. "No," I replied. "You never had to." We didn't resolve everything that night, but something shifted. Not power, perspective. She didn't apologize dramatically. I didn't forgive theatrically. We acknowledged something harder. That love requires recognition, not management. That night, after she left, I stood in the doorway and looked back into the house. It felt the same, but I felt different. I wasn't defending it anymore. I was inhabiting it. After everything settled, life didn't suddenly improve. There was no dramatic relief, no sudden happiness. There was simply space. Space where urgency used to live. Space where decisions had once been made for me. For years, my days had revolved around anticipation, waiting for calls, waiting for approval, waiting for reassurance that I was still needed. That waiting stopped. Not because my daughter changed overnight, but because I did. I began reclaiming small things first. The mornings, the afternoons, the way I spent my time. I stopped asking permission for rest, stopped justifying my choices. I learned how to be deliberate again. I spoke directly with banks, with doctors, with people I used to let her speak to. Not because she was incapable, but because I was still capable too. At first, it felt awkward, like using a muscle that had been ignored for too long. But confidence returns quietly. It doesn't announce itself. It settles in. I started making plans that had nothing to do with her schedule. Short trips, classes, things I had postponed because they felt unnecessary. They weren't unnecessary. They were mine. I noticed my daughter adjusting, not resisting, just observing. She called differently now, asked instead of assumed, paused before deciding. We were learning a new rhythm, one built on respect instead of habit. I didn't stop being her mother, but I stopped being only her mother. That distinction mattered. I found comfort in the house again, not as a symbol of defense, but as a place of continuity. I redecorated one room, painted a wall I had ignored for years. It felt like marking a new chapter, not erasing the old one. Sometimes, late at night, I still thought about how close I came to losing everything without a fight. Not with fear, with gratitude. I had stayed quiet for a long time, but when it mattered, I had spoken, and that changed the trajectory of my life. The house still stands, just as it always has. The windows catch the morning light, the floors still creak in the same places, the walls hold their quiet. Nothing about it looks extraordinary, and yet everything about it tells a story. It tells the story of a woman who stayed, who endured, who learned. It tells the story of a daughter who grew up, who overreached, who learned too. We are still in each other's lives, not perfectly, but honestly. We talk, we visit, we disagree sometimes, but we listen now. She sees me differently, not as something fragile to be managed, but as a person with history, with strength, with a future, and I see her differently too. Not as someone who owes me, but as someone still learning how power works. Love didn't disappear between us. It matured. If you're listening to this story, if something here felt familiar, if you've ever stayed quiet to keep peace, if you've ever been managed instead of asked, if you've ever felt yourself shrinking, remember this. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to remain whole. Love should never require erasure. The house still stands. So do I. And if tonight feels quiet, let it be peaceful. Let it be enough. You have done enough. You are enough.
Did you like the story? And which city are you listening from? Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. Enjoy listening more stories on my channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next stories. Much love and respect.